let's talk about something that gets every single one of us: fear. I mean, it can really feel like a prison, right? It locks us away from who we could be. But today, we're going to dig into some powerful insights from Dr. Tanu Jain to figure out how to find the key and finally break free. All right, let's get into it.
I want to kick things off with a big question for you. Just think about this for a second. What if all those things that keep you up at night, all those anxieties that stop you from going after your dreams, what if they're just phantoms? It's a pretty wild idea, but it's absolutely central to what we're talking about today.
So, where does this fear actually come from? You know, we often think it's some external thing, some threat out there in the world. But the first big idea we need to grab onto is that fear is an internal job. We actually build the prison ourselves, which, and this is the good part, means we're also the ones holding the key.
Dr. Jain tells this incredible story that just perfectly illustrates this. Picture a massive, powerful, fully grown elephant, and it's being held in place by nothing more than a thin little rope tied to its leg. You'd think, why doesn't it just walk away? Well, because when that elephant was just a baby, that same little rope was strong enough to hold it. It tried and tried to break free, but it couldn't. And it learned a lesson deep in its bones. I can't break this rope. And now, even though it could snap that thing without even thinking about it, it doesn't even try. That old belief is what holds it captive.
And that, of course, brings the question right back to us, doesn't it? What are the ropes in our own lives? What are those old stories we tell ourselves based on some past failure, maybe from a time when we weren't as strong or as smart as we are now? What's still holding you back today that you could actually snap in an instant? It's such a crucial question to ask.
And you know, that rope, that invisible tether from our past, it has a name. It's self-doubt. It's that nagging voice in your head that says, oh, you can't do that, all based on old, outdated evidence. The second you recognize that voice and where it came from, that's when you start to realize the rope isn't really there anymore.
You know, this idea of an internal enemy, it's not new at all. Think about the story of Buddha. On his path to enlightenment, he was supposedly tempted by this demon named Mara. Mara threw everything at him: visions of war, lust, doubt, anything to distract him. But here's the thing. Mara wasn't some external demon. Mara was a metaphor for Buddha's own mind, his own fears, his own desires. It just goes to show you, the biggest battle we'll ever face is the one happening right between our own ears.
And if you need a number to really drive this home, get this. A staggering 95% of our fears are imaginary. They are scenarios we cook up in our heads that will, in all likelihood, never, ever happen. And yet we let them cause us real suffering. The real question is, are we going to let these ghosts run our lives? Okay, so even if we know the fear is just in our head, it still feels so powerful, right? So why shouldn't we give it so much attention? Well, the answer comes down to the one thing we can ever get more of: our time. Just take a look at this. Let's be super optimistic and say we all get 100 years. Now, if you're 25, boom, a quarter of your life is already in the rearview mirror. Then figure you're going to spend about a third of your life sleeping. Gone. Then you have to factor in old age, when you might not have the health or the energy to chase those huge dreams. When you really subtract all of that, the actual window of time you have to go out and build the life you want, man, it is shockingly small. Now listen, this isn't meant to be depressing. It's meant to be focusing. Because when you see your active time laid out so clearly, you have to ask yourself a very serious question. Do I really want to spend this incredibly precious, finite resource paralyzed by fears that have a 95% chance of being totally made up? And all of this brings us to the way out, the solution, the antidote to that prison of fear. If our time is short and most of our fear is just an illusion, then our real power lies in one thing: making conscious choices. The philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre had this wild idea. He said we are condemned to be free. Now that sounds heavy, but what he meant was that we are so radically free, we can't escape it. Every single moment of every single day, we are making choices. Even the choice to not do something, well, that's a choice too. There's no getting out of it. So what does a truly conscious choice look like in the real world? Dr. Jain gives this perfect, simple example. A boy and a girl are on a beach. He makes the choice to take her hand. Now, this isn't just some reckless move. It's a conscious choice because he has already thought about and accepted all the possible outcomes. She could pull her hand away. She could hold his back. She could just be surprised and not know what to do. Because he's mentally prepared for any of those three things to happen, the fear's gone. He's taken control of the situation by accepting he can't control the outcome. And that simple story really highlights the two fundamental ways you can go through life. You can live an unconscious life where things just sort of happen to you. You're a passenger and you're constantly ruled by the fear of what might happen next. Or you can live a conscious life. You become the architect. You're the one making the decisions. You accept the risks and you build the life you want, brick by brick.
At the end of the day, this is what it's all about. Your life should be made by you. Whether the outcome is amazing or it's a total disaster, what matters is that the choices were yours. You can take inspiration from people, sure, but you have to be the one steering your own ship.
So let's just tie this all together. It really boils down to 3 huge takeaways. Number 1, recognize that the prison is in your mind. Most of what you're afraid of isn't even real. Number 2, your time is so incredibly limited. It's too precious to waste on those illusions. And number 3, take your power back. Embrace your freedom to make conscious choices, ready for whatever comes next.
So I'm going to leave you with one last question to really chew on. Take a good, hard look at the decisions you make, and maybe more importantly, the ones you don't. Are they truly yours, or are they just the echoes of some old rope, some imaginary demon, or maybe even the fears of people around you? The choice, as always, is yours. Thanks for digging into this with me today.